Thank you, Ms. Chairman, and also Ms. Ranking Member. And I want to kind of dovetail off of what Ranking Member Velasquez just asked. Do we see any metric that is out there that sees a correlation between the atrophy of skill sets with the length of time on unemployment? Has anyone been looking at that?
I'll say to the best of my knowledge, it hasn't been codified in research. I asked a research question to our Department of Education representatives yesterday in this forum on the automotive community, just seeing that there have been significant federal investments in job training and retraining, and it gives us an opportunity to start to look at that longitudinal data, but to the best of my knowledge, they're not tracking them yet. But I do think the opportunity exists, and there certainly is a willingness to get to a more integrated participant support mechanism that allows for that to happen.
Okay. Mr. Watkins, question for you. In the IT field, my youngest daughter just started high school, and the things that she can do with a computer is, unconscionable, especially, for someone like myself. So when I think about certification programs, I mean, is it possible that we can start getting, especially in the IT field, some of these certification programs down and even into the high school level, where we can start developing that talent even earlier instead of waiting later? I'd like to get your thoughts on that.
First, I'd like to say I have a 18-month-old daughter, and I got a little netbook, and she seems to have outstanding adept at using that. But interesting that you asked that. Michael Pinella, he's the local IT director for Holmes County School Systems, and that's something they're already working toward. In particular, CompTIA, the certifications that they have at a high school level, that gives a great foundation if they want to go directly into the workforce after high school, or if they want to use that as a foundation for going to college. It's something that I think is extremely important, and I think that that's a very good thing to do.
I would echo a good example of that's the Cisco programs. Cisco academies, you'll have regional academies, and you'll have high school-based academies that are cooperating with community colleges and moving on to the universities with CCNA and CCNP. And again, with another thing about certifications that I think helps in this process is it's based on competency. It's not based on seat time. So if a student gets a certification in high school and a CCNA, there's no reason why they have to get a CCNA when they get to college. And so we can be more efficient about education in that regard because we have trust in the standards that are out there, in these cases, standards that are defined by industry.
We actually have an example in San Antonio, Texas, with a Career Academy High School that is training individuals, and they happen to support the aviation and aerospace industry and workforce. And we had the opportunity to bring one of the young women to Washington, and not only did she come, she's a first-generation college goer now. She's graduated from high school, but she graduated from high school with industry certification and college credit. And it was 36 college credit hours that she walked into that community college with. Not only that, she's employed with an employer who, in fact, is helping to support her post-secondary education, and this in a family environment that didn't necessarily have an opportunity to understand the importance of post-secondary education, and she will be the first college graduate. And industry-based certifications linked to employment, a number of our employers all invest in continuing education for their employees, and having that link and that opportunity really helps create and strengthen the future for those that traditionally have not had access.
If I could add to that, one of the things that we're working on is, if you think about it, especially in our 6th, 7th, and 8th grade areas, we know we lose a lot of kids on math, okay? And for the math teacher today, they try and introduce them to, with the use of calculators, algebraic equations, and those type things. One of the things that we're doing, are going to be doing, is through our community college, because this is part of their feeder system as well, is to bring an electric multimeter, a digital multimeter, into those classrooms. Why? A multimeter is really just another calculator, except it gives you an actual measurement and gives you actual relevancy that every small business owner can participate, come in and teach. A lot of things to integrate that to bring those certifications in, as well as keep those young people in school. So there's things like that that are applied. You can apply that to torque, all kinds of things that impact manufacturing, small businesses, computers, assemblies, all those type of things. So yes, it's absolutely important if we're going to change the dropout rate.
And I think you just hit on the critical aspect. We have to make education, even in high school, relevant. It's not just teaching the theory. Now we need to talk about the practical application thereof with the local private sector so that we can start growing that talent that can go into that private sector. And, every kid does not have to go into college, but they can have a certain skill set that they can be a contributing member to that community. Thank you very much. I yield back.